Ionia is a land of magic and ancient spirits where shadows of the past hide behind beauty. Among the mysterious creatures of this world, Ahri, a fox Vestaya whose power is linked to memories and loss, holds a special place. In this video, we will tell you how her personal quest turned into a fight for the fate of the whole world, and why the price for answers proved higher than she could have imagined. Ahri's first memories are of the wild snows of northern Shanzan, where she grew up among a pack of ice foxes. No one, including Ahri herself, knew her true origins, but the foxes accepted her as one of her own. Only a pair of sunstones she always carried reminded her of the Vestaya heritage she knew nothing about. Living in the wild, Ahri began to feel her unusual abilities awakening. She could sense the energy of the spirit realm, sharpen her reflexes, and even influence the emotions of others. But she was most drawn to humans. She watched them from afar for a long time, until one day she found a wounded traveler. His fading life force awakened an ancient instinct in her. Ahri absorbed his spiritual essence, and with it his emotions, memories, and language. From that moment on, she increasingly sought closeness with humans. Not for conversation, but for their souls. Mortal emotions were intoxicating nectar, and stolen memories formed a seductive mosaic of other lives. Yet, immersed in those feelings, Ahri saw how people viewed her, a monster. Shocked, she tried to renounce her predatory nature, but soon realized her power would fade if she did not feed, so she accepted herself as she was. One encounter changed everything. The artist she met was unafraid, offering his essence willingly in exchange for love. With him, Ahri learned for the first time what it meant to be happy without another's pain. They spent their days by a lake. He painted flowers and she simply was there. Still, the nature claimed its due. In a moment of weakness, Ahri lost control and killed the one she loved. Overcome with despair, she withdrew further from humankind. Devastated, Ahri sought the Garden of Forgetting, a place where memories, hers and others could be erased. She wished to rid herself of pain, of the lives she had taken, and above all, the memory of the only one she had ever loved. In the garden, she met a mysterious old woman, the gardener, called the Eater of Secrets, the Forgotten, or the Witch Gardener. Ahri named her Igilia, which means great-grandmother in Ionian, and begged to learn how to forget her heaviest burdens. The gardener warned that forgetting meant losing part of oneself. Nonetheless, she gave Ahri a snow lily and told her to inhale its scent while focusing on the memories she wished to erase. The flower plunged Ahri into searing visions. Again and again she relived her lover's death, but the deeper she sank and the deeper she plunged, the clearer she understood. Pain was part of her love. Erasing it was worse than living with loss. When Ahri tried to flee, hallucinations bound her. The flower's scent bound her movements, and blossoms and black vines barred every exit. Yet, in the last moment she broke free, thanks to her innate agility and Vestaya instincts. Leaving the Garden of Forgetting, Ahri vowed never again to run from her emotions. The memory of pain is the memory of love, and she chose to live with it. Seeking control over her powers and predatory nature, Ahri set out to uncover the truth of her origins and her unknown Vestaya tribe. Her journey led to Omikaya land, once a sacred grove of a god willow sapling felled millennia ago, yet leaving a magical seedling. There she met the grove's guardian spirits, among them the ancient Vestaya lords, Himanshe, Gaish, the tail-cloaked matriarch, and the powerful fox spirit Sinan Thousand-Tailed. Ahri learned to accept her wild nature, then continued her search, leaving the sacred grove behind. Hunting clues to her lost people, Ahri wandered an Ionian market. There, a fortune teller named Hirin noticed her twin sunstones. Rare gems, she said, made only by one master, a sculptor named Imelo. Intrigued, for the stones were her soul linked to the past, Ahri followed Hirin to her caravan to learn more. Over tea, the fortune teller told her of Imelo, an artisan who carved intricate forms from fossilized lizard eggs. His creations, Hirin explained, were pieces of larger sculptures, so Ahri's sunstones could only be fragments of something greater. But there was a catch: the tea had been laced with a paralyzing draught. When Ahri's body stopped responding, Hirin drew a hunting knife and tried to cut off one of her tails, a rare and valuable potion ingredient. However, even bound, Ahri summoned her strength and tore out a fragment of Hiran's essence, gaining enough energy to move again. In her rage, Ahri was ready to consume Hiran's soul, but the memories she glimpsed, a life of hardship, struggle, and loneliness, moved her. Instead of revenge, Ahri erased Hiran's recollection of their encounter and left, taking with her a new clue to her past, the name of the master, Imelo. Another lead brought Ahri to Bilgewater, a pirate haven on the far side of the world. Knowing the trip would be perilous, she sought a reliable bodyguard. Thus, she arrived in Welling, where the Spirit Blossom Festival was in full swing. Seeking protection, Ahri entered the tea house. Hearing talk of Noxian mercenaries, she asked where to find such warriors. But the owner, Pascoma, refused. She would not host dangerous guests. Ahri promised to respect her wishes and remained in her room. The festival's first night ended with a grand feast. Even Ahri joined the revelry and spoke with Pascoma's granddaughter, Sitolka. The girl mistook Ahri for the mythical gatekeeper, a spirit who guides the dead, and they debated Ionian myths and rites. Later, using her magic, Ahri persuaded Pascoma's husband, Ichurin, to admit the mercenaries despite the hostess's protests. That evening, she met Yasuo, a wandering swordsman also seeking something beyond his homeland. Their goals aligned, and Ahri hired him as bodyguard for Bilgewater, though she kept her Vastaya nature hidden. In Bilgewater, the Black Market Trail led her to word of the Visani Sunstone, recently bought by a Jagged Hooks raider named Malik, bound for Grey Harbor. Meanwhile, tension rose. Yasuo sensed she withheld the truth. Only in the tavern, on the eve of a new voyage, did she reveal her Vastaya identity and true purpose. That night, Ahri was plagued by nightmares of her past. Fearing she would drag Yasuo into her pain, she slipped away. In Grey Harbor, she forced a pirate to confess that Gangplank now held the Sunstone and was sailing for the Shadow Isles. Ahri followed. Amid the gloom, she met Maokai, spirit of the corrupted Blessed Isles. The latter revealed that Thresh used Visani relics to command the mist and poison the land. The path to truth lay deep below, in ancient Visani vaults. Yasuo arrived with his party, Braum, Ilaoi, Pike, and Captain Sarah Fortune, aboard the Charming Lady. Finding the weakened Maokai, they readied for battle until Ahri intervened. All saw Gangplank, who hid in Thresh's fortress behind the black mist. Ahri wished to enter the Visani vaults alone, but the team insisted they would aid her and Maokai. Reluctantly, she agreed. The group cleaned the hideout of Black Mist while Ahri uncovered Visani lore. Her people had bound memories and crystal devices linked to the Isles. Maokai was saved, yet remained frail. He entrusted Ilaoi with a seed, begging her to carry it to the underwater Buru Temple so Negakaboris could purge the corruption. Guided by Pike, the team reached the temple. Ilaoi persuaded the Serpentine Wardens to grant entry, and in the ocean depths they cleansed the seed. But the darkness within nearly overwhelmed Ahri. Her mind faltered before she mastered it. With the blessed seed, they set out to return to Maokai. On their way, they were intercepted by an undead spirit, Viego's former advisor. He told them the truth about the Shadow Isles. They were quote-unquote born after Isolde's death, when Viego's broken heart tore the very essence of life from those lands. The Revenant revealed Thresh's plan to reawaken Viego with ancient artifacts so he could plunge the world back into chaos. He vanished, leaving a warning to stop the rite before it was too late. With the purified seed in hand, Maokai regained his strength and dispelled the mist, opening the path to Thresh's fortress. Inside, in the Library of Agony, Ahri found Visani relics and the Sunstone, a vessel of memory depleted yet holding shards of the past, and took it. The team defeated Thresh and bound him in the Black Mist once more. But their journey was not over. Gangplank had already roused Viego, hoping to master him with the Buru artifact. He failed and became the ruined king's puppet, sailing on Bilgewater with a harrowing to seize the dead wife's crown. The party fought Gangplank, subdued him, and secured him aboard Sarah Fortune's ship. When Ahri touched the Black Mist, she saw Viego's discarded memories and learned the grim truth. His so-called love was obsession. Realizing those memories could weaken him, the group resolved to use them. Yasuo filled the sails with wind augmented by Ahri's magic. Meanwhile, Ilaoi interrogated Gangplank, confirming Viego's past was his greatest flaw. When they caught Viego, he raised a tempest that scattered them on a mist-shrouded isle. There Yasuo faced a vision of his dead brother. Seeing his anguish, Ahri shared her own grief. Together they found acceptance. After repairing their ship, they returned to Bilgewater to prepare for the final clash with the Harrowing. The plan was as follows. Ahri would force Viego to relive his forgotten memories, and then seal him in the Buru Amulet. In battle, the amulet shattered. Learning of an ancient Buru forge beneath the Shadow Isles, the heroes set out to restore it. On the Isles, they once again met the Revenant, who said the path to the forge lay through a Vistani repository. Inside, Ahri used her twin sunstones to delve into her people's lore. She discovered the Vistani, nomadic Vistaya devoted to memory magic, had allied with the city of Helia on the Blessed Isles, learning to shape artifacts with a sacred mist. When the ruination of Helia took place, their history almost perished with it. Finding a memory transfer device, Ahri faced a choice: preserve Vistani knowledge or absorb Viego's twisted memories to save Runeterra. She chose the latter, sacrificing her people's legacy. In despair, she saw a vision of her lover, who forgave her and urged her to create new memories. At the forge, the group battled Nagakaboras, offering their spirits to purify the amulet. They succeeded, and the goddess blessed them. Back in Bilgewater, the final battle began. Ahri, empowered by the Sunstone, flooded Viego with the agony of his true memories, shattering his delusion of perfect love. He relived his death as Isolde's shade turned upon him. Captain Fortune imprisoned the ruined king into the purified amulet, nearly succumbing to his lure, yet resisted. After victory, the heroes gathered at the Baron's Rest. Plans were shared, farewells said. Ahri vowed to return to the Shadow Isles, not for the past but to follow the Vistani path, bringing life, magic, and new memories to the world. Ahri's journey in all of Runeterra.